So guys, in 2006 we were going to get a new Superman movie. Oh. Oh, okay. Okay. It's okay. Superman Returns. So guys, this is a full-blown spoiler review for Superman Returns. Probably the most disappointing Superman movie there is. Not the worst, but the most disappointing. And one of the more disappointing superhero movies I've ever seen. Now, to full disclosure in the beginning of this video, I do like Superman Returns. I think it's a decent movie that has faults. Much like the Star Wars prequels, they're not bad, they have faults, and they could have been better. It's just a massive missed opportunity. So, to start this out, I was just going to say, I think Superman Returns is a decent movie, but it's got its problems, and it definitely should have been reworked. So, Superman Returns is directed by Bryan Singer and stars Brandon Routh as Superman. Brandon Routh, who's unfortunately his career hasn't really shot up after this. He's been in things like he was in Arrow for a while, and it works, but the movie's really okay. Kevin Spacey ends up coming back, and he plays not coming back, but he comes out and plays Lex Luthor, and I think he plays a very good Lex Luthor. But the problem with this movie is it's just Superman. It's what Superman 3 should have been. Is really what it is. It takes elements from Superman's 1 and 2, and it kind of is like a meta sequel to those, which it really kind of is and isn't at the same time, because it's a weird continuity. It's really the Dick Donner or Richard Donner Superman that we, didn't get as a Superman 3, and I mean that's really what this movie is. It's Superman 3, not Superman Returns, and it unfortunately. It's an unfortunate mess is kind of what it is. Superman never punches anybody in this movie. Nothing ever happens. There's no action. He just saves people, flies around, lifts things. It's Superman lifting things, really, is what the movie is. And for 2006, some of the effects don't look fantastic. The flying sequences, unfortunately, a lot of them are CGI Superman, and unfortunately for the time, oh man, I mean, I really wish for the time you would think they would have had some shots of Brandon Routh, where on green screen, on wires and everything, doing the Superman stuff. But ends up they had that stuff, but they ended up using CG doubles and everything. That's something Spider-Man 3 did. When I eventually do those reviews, and I'll talk about it, it just doesn't cut it when you can't do. I understand CGI for a lot of the massive movement and stuff like that, and that's something that like Man of Steel does. Like they start out and they do like a little bit of the motion, and then it's basically a seamless live action CG to live action is what they end up doing. So like when Superman moves really quickly from point A to point B, it's quick. He might do like the quick move, and then it's a blending out of there to a CG live action at the very end. And you blend the two together using digital renderings of the person and just like almost sometimes motion capture works really well too. You can mocap things out and speed them up and really go through it, and you can really get a full-fledged realistic vision of what that would be, and they just didn't do that in this movie at all. Really, one of the issues with this movie is the plot. It's literally this movie doesn't need to be called Superman Returns. It needs to be called God-Man has struggles with becoming human and has issues in a relationship. There's so much emphasis on Lois Lane in this movie, more so than Man of Steel. That's really the problem with this movie. There's no Superman in this movie. He's not even there. Even when he's on screen, he's not even there. And it's like Brandon Routh doesn't say a whole lot, and there's just a lot of just, oh, Superman's going to fly around. Where does Superman live? We don't know. We don't care. It seemed like Bryan Singer just wanted to make a movie that wasn't anything different, and that's what he did. In the documentary called The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, he talks about, one of the guys that worked on Superman Returns talks about when people at the studio would talk about, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this, maybe we should do this stuff or something different. Bryan Singer would have a picture, and it's this picture of Superman right here. This picture of Superman, of Nicolas Cage as Superman. He's like, you guys were gonna make this, and it would shut everybody up. That's not even what that would have looked like. Let's move that picture out of the way, guys. Okay, go doing. And this is what it would have looked like. Right there. Yep. That's what it would have looked like. That's what Nicolas Cage Superman would have looked like. Not this. This. Okay? So, yeah, not that. That. So. Anyway. But that's what that's what Bryan Singer wanted. He wanted more of a Christopher Reeve type Superman. This movie here really is just a mess. It's an utter mess. I like it. The plane sequence is cool, okay? I can watch that plane sequence all day and it is still cool. But there are moments in the movie, it's not Superman. Superman saves people, okay, yeah. And they brought in the original score and everything, but John Ottman ended up coming in and tweaking the score, but you get the original John Williams score in there. And personally, that doesn't work for today. That works for 1970s, but it doesn't work for today. And that's one of the big things about this movie is it doesn't work today. It's a 1970s version of Superman set in 2006. That doesn't make any sense. The CG for this movie is, I don't want to say laughably bad, but it's not great. There's just some instances of a CG Superman, and you're just like, that is rough. That's hard to watch. It looks like, sometimes it honestly looks like PlayStation 2 cutscenes, if not PlayStation 3 cutscenes. It's not great looking at all, and it just, the story, it even basically just made me yawn talking about it. The movie's boring. It's a boring 2 hours to watch. It's a boring movie. And he just flies around. Superman just flies around and does nothing. Lois Lane does nothing. Nobody does anything in this movie. And even like Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor is what? After the land. So what does he do? He creates an island of kryptonite. An island of kryptonite. I can't even say kryptonite correctly. Like he creates an island of it. And Lois Lane's like, millions of people will die. He's like, billions of people will die. And I'm like, okay. He wants to just create mass chaos and death. And he's like, people will pay me for this. So he's like, after land and money again? Lex Luthor's more about, and it's just recycled plot material. If people say Star Wars: The Force Awakens is a recycled plot of A New Hope, this movie is a complete, like, other than the origin story, it's a complete retelling in a lot of the same story points, if not the very exact same story points, are used from the original Superman movie to this movie. It's ridiculous. It's some ridiculous stuff. There's just it's hard to watch. It's almost hard to watch this movie thinking it's a Superman movie. It's more of just a man struggling to fit in life. That's what this movie should have been, and it's not good. It's not a good Superman movie. I do find it enjoyable at times as just a Superman movie to watch. The fact that he ends up having a kid with Lois Lane, I'm sorry, you lose me there. Superman in a hospital.
So Superman gets the crap beat out of him on a rock island and shit, and then fucking falls in the ocean, and then he's sick and in the hospital, which is fucking dumb anyway. So he's laid up in the hospital, and Lois Lane comes in to see him in a very poignant scene and whatnot, and crawls onto the bed with him and whispers something to him that we can't hear, but you're led to believe is, you're not alone, you have a child. My child is your child, and so obviously there is a Kryptonian like you. He's half human, half Kryptonian, but you're not alone, Superman. And he gets peppy again and gets out of his fucking bed and starts whipping around the world and smiling and waving at the camera and taking off again.
Anytime you see Superman in a hospital, come on. That's ridiculous. And you're telling me he just got better. Tell me he just got better. Wow, okay. Okay, guys, so Superman Returns. To me, it's like a 6.5. It's not a great movie.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
It's okay. The effects sometimes look good. CG Superman, the soundtrack is okay, and the acting's okay. It isn't great stuff. Literally, you don't have to watch it. It's funny. They thought they were going to make a second one, and it's ridiculous. And the fact that Bryan Singer thought that Superman Lives, he's like, you were going to make this. It's like, come on, go back to X-Men. You're good at that. Yeah. Yeah, also the fact that he left X-Men 3, The Last Stand, to do this movie.
And now Superman Returns, I was fucking all up in it and shit. It was like, the guy that made X-Men's gonna make Superman? That's fucking brilliant. I'm there with fucking bells on and shit. Now, if somebody had told me in the beginning of the summer, that summer when the movie came out, that you're gonna like X-Men 3 better than Superman Returns, I'd be like, you're out of your fucking mind, dude. Come on. Ratner versus fucking Singer? Singer all the way. And I saw both movies, I'm like, Brett Ratner's a fucking genius because Superman Returns was fucking boring, man.
So guys, thank you for watching this Superman Returns review. You can comment below what you think of Superman Returns. Do you think it was a misstep? Do you think, what do you think about it? Also, what else? Yeah, comment below, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and as always guys, thank you for watching my videos, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.